right, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. All right.
Notice a certain extreme helmet in the studio.
Yes. About this, their goal is 122 countries and all 7 continents. And this is the website. ToRideTheWorld.com. It's two. Or two. RideTheWorld.com. And we have in our studios, as I said, they're making a pit stop here. So far, they've been to 73 countries. We have Simon Thomas and Lisa Thomas in the studios this morning. Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Hi. You must have a name for yourself, by now. You can't just go around being Simon Thomas and Lisa Thomas. You gotta have like a name, like Freedom Couple.
We would like to have a name, and when we're on these forums, everybody has such a cool handle, and we have Lisa T and Simon T.
Yeah, exactly.
Big journey, no imagination. But the project itself, when we set off 9 years ago, we did realise that if we wanted to be taken seriously and approach a few companies, we couldn't just say, "Hi, it's Simon and Lisa doing a bike ride." So we called the project To Ride the World, with the number 2, with the idea being that it could just be 2 people, 2 bikes, or just the idea of to ride the world.
Okay.
2 wheels.
Open to interpretation.
Hence, you chose 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
Just the 2 of us.
Yes. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And your reports are not just on this website. They're also on other websites as well.
Okay.
I happened to catch one where you went to the roof of the world. It's amazing how many countries you've been to. There are only so many, by the way.
Yeah.
So what happens when you finish all 120?
That is the word. That question is always so difficult because at the moment
hate
we're
that
so
one.
focused on reaching the goals that we set out from in the beginning, and the problems are very immediate. That really, we try not to spend too much time or energy focusing past that because anything could happen. Anything could happen, but we don't know. I think realistically something that still involved motorcycles and possibly inspiring other people to realise that they have so much more potential than perhaps they realise they
But
do
also
now.
continuing with our photography, we've become more and more keen photographers as the journey has gone on.
Yes.
And that has become a huge element of our trips, where we go to visit other areas. We concentrate on not only the landscape and the motorbikes, but people. We like to take portrait photographs as well.
And you also share a photo of the week, which you capture yourselves.
Yep.
And this week is in orangutan. Was this captured in Sarawak?
It was, yes, yeah.
Okay,
His
now-
name is Richie, apparently.
Okay, now for the uninitiated, or if you just joined us, we talked to Simon and Lisa a few weeks ago to get some background on them, and they have been traveling the world basically on their motorbikes. And tell us about the beginning when you dropped everything basically. Why did you decide to do that?
It wasn't the easiest of decisions. We've been speaking about travel for a long time. We're both passionate about motorcycles and travel. But in one particular year, I had a very bad motorcycle accident, which effectively took off my right foot or bar a few tendons. So the following few years saw 5 major surgeries and learning to walk again. But in that same year, my mother was told that she had an aggressive cancer. And in that same year, to make matters worse, Lisa's father underwent a quadruple heart bypass. And it was almost like life giving us a wake-up call. We've been successful to a degree in terms of our own careers. Both of us felt unaccomplished, for want of a better term. We felt there has to be more. Yeah, the shirts hanging in the wardrobe are nice, but are we happy defining ourselves by the watch we wear and the cars we drive? Now, those things are nice. Don't get me wrong, those things are still very nice. But in terms of looking back and going, what did I do with my life? What difference did I make? Did I live my life, or did I live the life that somebody else thought I should? And that was really, I think, the turning point.
So you sold everything, your house, your car, and you went on the street.
The shirts, of which I had 56 hanging in a wardrobe, I'm ashamed
He
to add.
had more clothes than me. Terrible.
Yeah, sold a lot, made a decision, said, right, okay, are we going to do this, yes or no? And right now we have 2 motorcycles. We've been living in a tent for 9 years.
That's our home.
And we've lived more in the last 8.5 years than either of us ever thought we'd live in a lifetime.
Okay.
Wow, that's very inspiring. I mean, we've met people.
Don't tell me you're gonna.
I don't know. I might. When I start to grow hair again.
So tomorrow, if they don't see you on TV and you bought him on a bike,
You know where he is then.
Yeah, you're riding the world.
How was it when you first left home? What did your friends and family say?
I don't think my family was that surprised, and our very close friends, they were like, no, I don't think so. I think they were like, yeah, okay, this sounds like you. You're going when? Tomorrow? We'll see you in a few years. So they were kind of acceptable process for us to just say, hey, bye, we're going. I'm not too sure about your family.
This is interesting because I've not heard this before.
Yeah.
So how do you think my family took it?
I think your family were like, yeah, it's another harebrained idea. It's never going to happen. It's just one of his ideas.
That's funny, I told them it was your idea.
So that when we actually came to almost the week of leaving, they're like, oh, so you're really going then? It is a plan. How long for? And we're like, a couple of years, maybe 18 months was the plan, just a career break. I mean, who in their right mind thinks, 8 years I'm going to be on the road? Nobody. It was going to be just a short career break. And
but we did still plan on riding to 122 countries.
Oh, yeah. We still planned 122 countries in 18 months.
So the original plan was 122 countries, but you thought that you were going for just 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We were slightly overly optimistic. That's all.
Well, it's taken you places. It's done wonders for you. You're famous now. I mean, a lot of people look up to you. I'm sure a lot of people are inspired by your story. Have you ever gotten like fan mail saying, "Oh, I want to join you and I want to be like you"?
We have quite a lot of emails from people saying, hey, I would really love to be able to do what you do, but it's impossible because I have a family or I have certain commitments, etc. And then you have other people that say, I would really like to do it, but there's no way I could. I just haven't got the guts. And for me, that's strange because I really don't think that it takes a lot of guts. It's just a different lifestyle. We've just chosen a different lifestyle. I actually think the jobs that I've had before, getting up at 5:30 in the morning, having to leave the house by 6:10 to get on the motorway to travel 2 hours to an office, work all day in an office, is a darn sight harder than what we do.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think it's easy to forget because now getting up, going somewhere different every day, riding the motorcycles, dealing with borders, dealing with officialdom, dealing with both good and bad, that is our norm. But I think actually what we tend to forget is that change of any kind is frightening. Whether you're changing career, changing family, changing school, change typically. And we do get asked, what was the scariest part of the trip? And people do expect to hear, oh, it was this accident. But actually, no, for me, the most terrifying moment of the trip was sitting across from my wife on a cold, wet Monday morning and having that yes-no conversation. We've been speaking about it, but now it's crunch time. Do we do this or do we not? If we do it, we commit to it, we go. If we don't do it, we never mention it again. That was actually scarier.
Wow. Now, before this, have you guys been outdoorsy people? I mean, were you guys into living out of tents?
Living out of a tent? Not so much.
Your family wasn't surprised? So
They weren't surprised. No, we've travelled a lot, especially during my childhood, and we did the usual camping trips, and we've lived abroad, etc. And so that they weren't overly surprised that we wanted to do this travelling. I'm not too sure they were overly keen on the motorcycle side of things, but I'd been riding for a long time anyway, and so it was that part, I think, that worried my mother more than anything. But I'm...
Was she worried because you weren't going as a passenger, or was she worried because you're riding your own bike?
I'm not sure, actually.
Was it that the bike was going to be your now home on wheels?
I think that was probably, it was going to be our everything. And I think it's a bit daunting. It's to see your daughter go off on a large motorcycle. Whereas you see Simon go off when his parents, his father, is just like, hey, that's my boy.
Thanks, Dad. Great. But this is arguably, I think, logistically, emotionally, and culturally much more difficult for a woman than it is for a guy. Not just because of the strength aspect. I mean, we're both riding motorcycles. They're both, when they're loaded, around 300 kilos. But also, there are certain countries have certain expectations as to the role a woman should play. And most countries, even European countries, typically a woman with an enduro helmet, going off-road, climbing over mountains, going through sand dunes on a 300-kilo BMW is not a role that a lot of countries are familiar with a woman in. And that's an interesting dynamic between the two of us.
And you guys are executing this amazingly. I mean, look at the success you've had in all the countries you've been to. Tell us a bit about your home on wheels now, the bike. What is it actually? It's a BMW, we know, but...
It's two BMWs. One started off as an 1100, Lisa's is a 650. We modified them, so for example, Lisa's has 3 fuel tanks and carries as much fuel as a Hilux. They're predominantly off-road bikes. We spent about 2 years preparing the bikes prior to leaving because we realised that as and when these things broke down or we had problems, we needed to know what to do with them. And prior to leaving, we had no off-road experience. We weren't mechanics, you know. Right. So Simon, where does the fuel go?
It was a very, very, very steep learning curve. But now we really do know our motorcycles inside out.
We've even given them names.
You've given the bikes
and their names
You haven't come up with a handle for yours.
I know. because the bikes are more important. We go to hotels. Sir, do you want to see the room? No.
No.
Just showing where the car parking is for the bikes.
All right, and in Malaysia, you've been to KL and also Sarawak and back to KL again. Tell us about your trip in Sarawak. What did you do there for 10 days, if I'm not mistaken?
We were actually 7 days travelling. The other days were taking into account getting there, organising the motorcycles, etc. And we arrived in Kuching and we managed to go to the Rainforest Festival.
Oh, you did?
Yes, we did. And that was amazing.
It was cool?
Very, very cool. The collection of music was fantastic. It was a much bigger event than we were expecting. Yeah, we were guests of Tourism Malaysia on a media junket. They'd invited some fellow journalists around the world to come on over. We were here, and coincidentally, one of the magazines they'd invited who couldn't send somebody, we were writing for.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Bit fortuitous.
Yeah, because even people from KL go to Sarawak once every year specifically for that concert. So I think you guys are really lucky.
We were very lucky. Yeah, it was really good fun.
We're seeing some injuries here.
Because Simon's a more reckless rider than Lisa. We never see Lisa bandaged up in any of those
Both
shots.
to you and your bikes. Could you tell us what happened?
We were riding from Miri back to Kuching to put the bikes on the container to fly them back over.
So we were about 70 kilometres?
80 kilometres north of Cebu. And I had an argument with a Hilux.
An argument with...
Yes, I'm so English. That's the understated version.
Sorry, hang on. What was it? It was a mishap.
Yes.
A mishap with a Hilux.
Yeah. No, basically I came over a small rise of a hill. It was in the wet, and I don't think anybody would expect to find a parked Hilux with no engine, no light, no hazard warning light, just parked in the middle, and the passengers walking about having a cigarette. They'd parked right opposite a truck that had broken down coming up the hill. And so I had a choice. Well, if I go to the left to avoid, I'm going to hit one of the passengers who's just milling about having a cigarette, watching me come towards him going, no. To the right, the traffic was coming through, and so the only choice I actually had was to actually lay the bike down the side, which I've never done before, and slide myself and my rather large BMW under the Hilux. And I remember sliding the 20 metres and all the way down thinking, this is going to hurt.
That's the sign of regret, right?
That's my leg. Yeah. The top part is my shin, the bottom part is my calf.
Oh man, that looks bad. But I think you were lucky.
I think so.
Yeah.
We were wearing these helmets, a proper suit, and I was wearing at the time motocross boots. Had I been wearing anything else, my leg would have been in pieces.
We always ride in full kit, which sometimes in the heat can be debilitating, but it's always worth it.
But realistically, it could have been an awful lot worse. And you know what, if you look at the 350-odd thousand kilometres we've travelled, this is only the second notable accident. So again, it was going to happen sooner or later. There's some broken plastic. The bike is at BMW right now. We're trying to get a little help with the repairs because financially it's a commitment that we're not sure we're up to. So we're trying to make arrangements, but we're still here. We're talking to you guys.
Right.
But the bikes are at BMW at the moment because we have a talk, a presentation that we're going to be giving tomorrow, a digital presentation, to which we would like to invite you.
Thank you.
So here's some information for you.
All right.
And here.
Athlete
There you
team.
go.
We look so serious in that
The
photograph.
Dusty Days of Freedom digital presentation.
Yep.
Okay. We're going to give you the chance to invite our viewers. Where and when is this happening?
It's tomorrow evening. It's BMW Auto Bavaria at Glenmurray.
Yes.
It's a free open event. Basically, they're giving us the opportunity to share the last 8 or 9 years of travel. The good news is, as presenters, if we're really bad, there's free food and drink.
And it's free anyway, but it's limited to the first 200, it says here.
Yeah.
So you guys can RSVP 1-800-883-3000.
And it's completely free because you're dialing 1-800.
Yes, completely
Yeah.
free, all over.
Every base is covered.
Every base is covered.
Speaking of food, finally, did you
Yes.
try Malaysian food? What's your favorite?
What's my favourite?
He just likes everything that's put in front of him. People would always ask, especially in Sarawak,
We're the
because
same
of
species then.
the actual temperature of the food. People were very worried that we might not like it, especially in Sarawak. And we're like, we really like hot.
Each time they
Really?
bring the food.
Yes, really?
Spicy. Spicy lah. Okay, yeah, good. You like spicy? You like-
Yes.
Yeah, spice is good. No, but it's spicy. It's really good. Really nice. No, the food's been fantastic. And so is the
Spicy
hospitality.
la. What about Malaysian words that you've picked up?
Oh, look at that.
It's fantastic.
Goes right in your vocabulary.
yeah,
Take
whether
it.
Malay or Chinese or Indian.
I
whatever.
don't know. No, actually, I think the guys that were mostly serving us in Sarawak, where we went with the Tourism Malaysia guys, were mostly Malay. But we have a fascination for languages and accents generally, and we try and pick up. But there's such an energy in Malaysia, and it comes across in the way you're greeted. It comes across in the way that we're spoken to. It comes across in the food. Yeah, it's all good so far.
Yeah, so thank you very much for visiting
Thank
and
you.
putting us on the map really for your travels and that little disagreement with the Hilux. It's
It was a
gonna-
blip.
It's a blip, but we'll be remembered for it.
He will. We're going to make him infamous.
So where next? After this?
Well, we want to spend a little while longer, obviously, travelling around the peninsula. And it is our intention, if we can really get back onto Borneo and see Sarawak and Sabah, we really want to. At the time there was just too fast to enjoy everything there. And then
But
we
also
head on
there's
off
Malaysia.
to Indonesia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much once again for visiting
you.
us.
Thank
It's
you
been
very much.
fantastic talking to the both
Fantastic
of you.
stuff. Thank you so much.
And we'll see you tomorrow morning with your bike in the car park, yeah?
With our bikes.
All right,
Bikes, I'm
thank
not so
you.
sure. But thank you once again, guys, for coming on board with us.
Cheers.
Yes, so the website is To Ride the World with the number 2. And also, if you're interested to learn more about them that we didn't manage to mention today, it's the Dusty Days of Freedom digital presentation happening tomorrow.
That's
You can RSVP 1-800-883-3000. All right.
Recommendo now.